All right, we are on step 3 of your guest ranch strategy, and we are well into this now. We've got a lot of data to work off of that we've gotten through the assessment, and we've created the strategy. Now we get into the nitty gritty, and we are going to start to do the business plan. And some people would start with the business plan, but I think doing the background work and the legwork that we did, the foundation laying, is a critical step that we've taken, and now we are ready to make the business plan, and it will be easier and it will flow a lot more smoother that way. The first thing you want to do is kind of build your fortress. You want to really make sure that you are protected legally. This means things like insurance, licenses, getting your accountant in place. Make sure and get the best accountant you can afford for your situation, and have a lawyer on backup if you can. Doesn't hurt. Just somebody on retainer that's familiar with your business and knows how to respond to legal challenges if anything arises. And I know that's a real big fear in the guest ranch kind of industry. The reality is it's maybe a lot less than you would think, and it's quite often manageable if you take precautions with your horses, of course, if you have horses, and other liabilities that could present a problem. But understand this, you can handle it, and you will figure it out as you go. Once you've got all your licenses and your permits in place, that's when we start to look at things like the guest experience. This is a lot of fun. You really put yourself in the position of your guest and start to imagine what you would like your tour to look like, or your experience to look like, or the whole atmosphere to be for your guests. As you go through this process, it's really puts you in that position where you're going to need to become somebody else and neutralize yourself and assess things honestly as you go through the process of designing the experience, making sure that you've got a flow in mind that makes sense and that delivers that envelope like we talked about earlier, or sets up the envelope that we talked about earlier. I think that's important. I think you really want to, I guess what it did for me when I took that approach was I looked at things neutrally, and I picked out a lot of the little areas that I would notice as a first time guest coming to your ranch, or coming into the ranch. Then we would look at things like the invitation, like how are you going to present this to the people that you're inviting? What does that look like? How are you going to do your marketing? What are the things in your marketing? What are the pieces in your marketing that you really want to highlight? Stay away from just putting your price up front right away. I would recommend that. I think that's a poor strategy, and it focuses the attention on the wrong thing. You've spent a lot of time putting this all together, and now the last thing you want them to kind of think about is the price. So they're going to look at all the value that you're bringing, all the package that you're offering, every element that's in that package. You're going to word it perfectly. You're going to design it and to create that experience for that guest at that moment when they need it the most. And there's your price point for that. And the people that get it will get it, and the ones that won't, they may not be part of your demographic, and that's okay. And you'll find your demographic over time as you narrow in on your avatar. I would recommend really digging in deep with your accountant, being honest about what it could be, and you may have to teach your accountant a little bit about budgeting and how that looks, because again, like we talked about earlier, that's not always something they think about. They can deal with what's happened, but they're not trained to think what will happen. And the growth is, for some reason, it's very hard for them to see that that's what's going to happen. But you, as the leader in this dialogue, are going to have a bigger picture in mind, and you're going to know what steps you're going to do. Also in your marketing plan, be sure and have, or in your business plan, be sure and have a good budget for marketing. They talk about 3 to 5%. 5% can be a bit extreme. If you're looking at a $100,000 business, or $1 million business, or a $5 million business, those get to be big, big numbers. But realize this, if you don't spend that, that's going to slow your cash flow. That's going to slow your business down. So it's really kind of a step that is hard to appreciate, but it means so much, and it does so much for your business. If people don't know you're there, you can have the best thing in the world, but it's just between you and your wife. So keep that in mind as you move ahead. So that kind of wraps up this part of it, the strategy, the preparation part. Let's get into the execution. That's the good stuff.